Hi and welcome to today's vlog. Today I am talking about my fluoroscopy. I have just had a fluoroscopy on my ankle about half an hour ago. I'm back from the hospital now and I'm resting up for the day so that the steroids in the fluoroscopy don't move around too much. They stay in the place that they're supposed to stay in and they do their job. So a fluoroscopy is basically a real-time x-ray. So it's like an x-ray and also a movie. So an x-ray is just a picture of your bones. It's the pictures of your bones at the time the picture was taken. The fluoroscopy is an imaging technique that basically gives you a moving live picture of your bones, of what's inside of the x-ray. So using the x-ray machine, they can then do a guided injection. So today I think there were a couple of things in there, something called Depo. There was local anaesthetic, they put that in first just so that you don't feel any pain. Steroids go in there and lidocaine as well for pain relief. So I arrived at the hospital. I was taken into sort of the x-ray room by a technician. I took my shoe and my sock off, so you don't have to, there's nothing special about a fluoroscopy. I suppose it depends where it is, but for sort of ankles and hips, that sort of thing, extremities, you don't have to put a gown on, you don't have to remove your nail varnish, you can eat and drink as you normally would. It's a really easy procedure. So shoes and socks off, just on the foot that I was having the injection in my right ankle, and I lay on the x-ray table. They moved the x-ray machine around to get a good picture. I think they marked points on my ankle where the injection would go in. I can't really feel much at my ankle, so I don't know exactly what they were doing. I'm just guessing because I couldn't see anything. So once they're happy that all of the imaging is in the right place, they've got the right joint, everything's good to go, they then inject you with local anaesthetic. Local anaesthetic is a little bit weird. It's quite stingy and burny when it first goes in, but that lasts all of seconds, probably not even a second, and then you can't feel anything. They're really very good. I wish I had them at home just to randomly jab into myself every now and again to not feel any pain. Once the local anaesthetic's in, they then put in a needle into the joint. Again, they use the x-ray, they use the needle to find the joint that the injection's going to go through, and then they pump steroids in. They do it small bits at a time, and they're looking the whole time at the image to make sure everything's going where it should go. Now, it took them a few minutes, more than a few minutes. It took them a little while to find the right spot in my ankle, in my talar navicular joint. That's basically the joint just below your ankle joint. So because I've got 3 huge big metal screws in my ankle, they had to negotiate the screws to get the injection in. So that took a little bit of time. It was a bit fiddly, and you can feel the pressure. I could feel the pressure in my foot whilst they were doing this. I think they run saline through that they can see on the imaging to see that it's in the right place. So once they eventually found the right place, the steroid goes in. The steroid is a very weird experience. It feels like somebody is inflating your joint and you feel like you're going to burst because there's just so much pressure in there. And then it's done, it's all over and it stops. And that's the procedure done. You're lowered back off the table, shoes and socks back on, and off you go. Easy peasy. I've had a lot of fluoroscopies now. I've had them in both ankles, I've had them in my hip. I'm due another one in my hip for tendonitis in a few weeks' time, so I am a dab hand at this. Every time is a little bit different. Sometimes I feel it more than others. One time I bled all over the floor in the clinical room. That was really fun. They hit a vein in my ankle today and there was a lot of blood. It was a bloodbath down there. They put a dressing on. The blood very quickly leaked through that dressing. So I sort of mentioned there's quite a lot of blood here. So they whipped that dressing off. They put pressure on it for about 5-10 minutes until they thought it would stop bleeding, and another dressing has gone on the top. And that's it. You're sent home then, shoes and socks back on. You're given a pain diary. which looks like this. I'll just cover up the top of it with my personal details on. So it looks a bit like this. The pain score of the day of the injection goes in the first box, which was a 9 out of 10 for me today. That does come and go. When they ask me questions like this, I do tend to base it on that day. Sometimes it might be a 4, sometimes it might be a 6, sometimes it's a 10, but today it was a 9. So then an hour after the injection, you give your pain score again, and right up to 4 weeks time, you give a pain score in every box, and then that just gets sent back to the x-ray department, and that's just a way of them checking on how effective it's been for you. As I walked out of the unit with my mum, the whole of the top of my leg has gone completely numb. It keeps giving way underneath me. It could be that just the awkward way I always lay on the bed. It's not a way I would normally lie. It's quite painful for me to lie like that, and I always lay there for sort of a good 15-20 minutes. So it might just be that I've trapped a bit of a nerve, and that's why it feels weird. I obviously have already convinced myself that the steroid has travelled up my leg into my thigh, and I'm going to get a blood clot any minute now and die. So fingers crossed we make it through to the end of the video. And that's it really. That's what a fluoroscopy is. It's a really painless procedure. It's nothing to be frightened of, and when they work, which they have done in the past for me, when they work, they can really do wonders, and they can help you avoid surgery for quite a long time. I had 4 or 5, about 6 or 8 months apart, which enabled me to go a few years before I had to have surgery. And the same with my hip. I was able to put off surgery for a bit because I'd had a steroid injection in my hip. So they are really beneficial. So if you are offered one and told it will be helpful for you, I would highly recommend that you do it. It honestly is nothing to be afraid of. The local anaesthetic is the worst part, and that just is like a sharp scratch that just feels a little bit burny for all of 3 seconds, less than 3 seconds really. And then it's just like pressure. It's just like somebody's filling up your foot or your joint with fluid until it's going to burst, and the pressure is so weird, but it's really not painful. I have been told to take it easy now for the rest of the day. I've got to sit with my foot up and try not to move around too much, because you can move the steroid around and it can be moved from the joint where it's supposed to be doing the work. So I'm going to sit with my foot up now for the rest of the day and do very little, which sounds like a really good plan. So that was today's video. I really hope that you liked it, and I hope you found it informative. I hope if you're having a fluoroscopy, maybe some of your fears have been put at ease a little bit. As always, you can find my posts at www.estellosaurus.co.uk. You can find more of my videos on my channel. I'd love for you to subscribe. If you loved it, give me a like, give me a thumbs up in the comments below. Leave me a comment. I love hearing from people. I love criticism, positive and negative. So just, if you've got anything to say, if you've got any questions about the fluoroscopy that I've had today, if you've got anything you'd like to see in my channel, please get in touch below, and I will see you soon.